Welcome, one and all, to another exciting episode of Coriander Society Adventures. I'm tormented by gnomes, and it is my illustrious privilege to be your game master on this most auspicious of Tuesdays. Joining me are my esteemed guests. You know them, you love them,
Hold on, is that irascible? It's irascible. That's the word I was looking for.
irascible rapscallions known as the Dungeon Hunters.
Hey, welcome. I'm super excited to have all of you on the show. Let's go ahead and have you introduce yourselves to those of our audience who may not know you, starting out with Choice Plays.
Well, hello there, everybody out there in the chat. I am Choice Plays. I do things on the internet sometimes. Every once in a while, you'll see me on esports things, and a lot of the times you'll see me producing for Dungeon Hunters. So I am their broadcast producer. That's what I do. I press buttons. So you can find me anywhere at Choice Plays. Thanks.
Next up, a dungeon master after my own heart, Trevor. What's going on?
Hi, everybody. My name's Trevor, or Death Cleric, which you can find me on Instagram and Twitter, as well as dungeon mastering for Dungeon Hunters. So that's where you will find me. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. I should add a command to the chat to pull up Dungeon Hunters. Well, we'll get to that on the break or something. Last but not least,
No worries.
the Gooba Dooba.
Hi, I am Gooba Dooba, also known as Ray. I am neither a caster nor a castle. I am a dungeon hunter. I play a paladin over there, and I probably do a lot of stupid things, but it's fun. So I don't really do anything else on the internet other than just troll people on Reddit and just, hate life. So I'm super appreciative of being here. I don't know what to say anymore. I appreciate the opportunity and the invitation.
You know what I should have put into the run of show was a chance for one of you three to tell us a little bit about Dungeon Hunters. So now I'm just going to put you on the spot and have one of you do that.
I vote Death Cleric.
I vote him also.
What Dungeon Hunters is a group of friends that like to come together and tell stories we think are worth being told, whether it be in a fantasy world or at a makeshift magic academy for young adventurers. We do a bunch of different things, a bunch of different projects, and we're all about storytelling. So narrative based and very dramatic in sort of intense stories are kind of our bread and butter. So narrative first, rule of cool play, and it's been a blast. And yeah, again, I think we're all very grateful to be here. Thanks for having us.
I am super excited to have you here. I'm also super excited to say that we have a sponsor for tonight's episode. Tonight's episode and the next 7 episodes of all of our shows are brought to you by the Arclands Universe. They're running a Kickstarter right now, the Book of the Phantasm. You can find information about that down below in Twitch, or if you're watching later on, it'll be in the description of the video. They've created their own world. It's got their own unique magic system where you can custom all your spells and items. And their new expansion that they're trying to kickstart right now is set in a dimension made from the embers of a dying god. So very, very cool. Go ahead and check that out. Like I said, link in the description, and we'll be talking more about it as time goes on. But the main event tonight, we are back in the world of Coriander Society Adventures after a brief sojourn on other adventures. We're back right here in Northport, the greatest city in the Commonwealth. And one of our continuing stories arcing across all these heroes in this world of 1930 style pulp adventure. Today's adventure takes place over the open ocean, some 600 feet up in the air, as an enormous, luxurious Zeppelin cruises so smoothly you could balance a pencil on one of the tables. It's said that when you take off in one of those things, you don't even notice that you're in the air until you look out the window. The Leviathan, pride of the air, constructed partially by the Commonwealth and partially by overseas to be a luxury aircraft. And today it is hosting a symposium of some of the most knowledgeable and well-qualified individuals on the matter of antiquities and the study thereof. For this world is filled with ancient civilizations, some of which are in grave danger from ongoing conflict, and the beautiful artifacts and works of their past are constantly in danger of being lost. Let us turn now. Let us turn now to the scene before us. On board that very Zeppelin in an enormous exhibit hall, a level of ostentatiousness that surely is a waste of weight, incredibly expensive in a vehicle powered simply by lighter than air gases. Every pound, every ounce matters, but here no expense has been spared. Music fills the hall as a musician plays from atop a stage adorned with a sphinx, a stone sphinx on one side, a gold-plated suit of armor, a jade sarcophagus, two statues, one of marble, one of granite, each from different ancient cultures, each marked with a beautiful placard in calligraphy, gilded around the edges, explaining the location that this was found, the culture it derives from, the history, and of course, the all-important name of the people who discovered it and the people who funded their expeditions. Small talk can be heard throughout the entire area as the well-to-do and the hoi polloi hobnob at beautifully apportioned red tables covered with these fine silk tablecloths. Waiters move throughout the room, holding aloft trays filled with all sorts of various assorted giggle water. There's a dedicated bartender in the corner as the music and the conversation mulls through. There are three people in this scene who perhaps were not expected, who perhaps were not originally on the guest list, yet nonetheless, here they are. Let's see who these figures are, what they're up to, and then we'll find out how they got here. Starting out with choice plays.
Well, sir, the name is Axel Corum. Spent many years in the military, special forces and the like, you know. I hunt for treasure. This is my life's work, my life's duty. Spent 2 tours overseas in the war, the Great War, doing some sort of reconnaissance, some little bit of under-the-table things. Most of it procuring, excuse me, some artifacts that I personally like to return to the rightful owner. So that is me. I am pretty tall, well built, hold a whip at my side. I am a British Indiana Jones, if you will.
Yes, quite.
And that would be me. Thank you.
Another rule you need to know here on Casters and Castles is that every time I leave myself on mute, you get +1 experience points. Go ahead and add that to your sheets. And in another 17,000 or so, you should get a free level out of me.
Perfect.
All right. So where in this scene do we find Axel Corum? How is he dressed? What is he up to? We'll get the details of how this ended up happening later.
Axel Corum is dressed in his military garb. He's got his decor on his chest decor, if you will. He's got medals, excuse me. One that he might have made himself or got from somewhere else, but he's very proud of it. It's all black. He stands very tall, but he is standing on the outside a little bit, kind of overlooking. Always the military mind looking for any sort of advantages, any sort of hiding places to hunker down. Always, you know, gotta stay sharp. Got to stay sharp. Other than that, yes, I will probably have some giggle water in my hand because I would like to giggle tonight.
Don't we all? Feel free to place yourself somewhere in the room, and with your tactical mind, you notice that there are some high ground areas here by these pillars. The stairs lead down. There's more high ground to the far north at the end on the platform. And there's great windows on all sides, giving a fantastic vista of the beautiful, mostly clear skies and the blue waters down below. If you were to hide in this room, you'd be hard pressed. But these curtains way up here at the top, that might be the best place. Let's get some music going on in here. Let's liven things up a little bit.
Ah, yes.
All right. Next up, Trevor. Who else do we see at this party?
Was that for me? Sorry.
Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and meet your character.
Wonderful. Well, you would find Daedalus Daytona Elisi smoozing his way through a group of people, finding himself in precarious positions. Kind of looking and trying to read the room a bit. He's dressed in Ausonian garb with a lapel pin of the Ausonian sort of relics, if you will. He has these wonderful crescent moon earrings, and he gently will grab at one of the drinks that the waiters are bringing by, and will just kind of look to the waiter and say, "Thank you very much, old sport. Now, continue on your way."
+1 XP. Very good, sir.
And you see that he has hair like mine, kind of coiffed over to the side with this trail that kind of hooks to the side as my hair is, with this very kind of like monotone gray sort of jacket into gray dress pants. And he's kind of just purveying and looking over the room and kind of reading it the best that he can, and will kind of shoot a small glance over towards Axel and will say, "And the hunt begins, old sport. Here we are." You'll shoot a wink and continue walking over to one of the tables.
Feel free to go ahead and move yourself over to a table.
Okay.
And Remy McDormand, let's talk about you. How are you dressed? What do you look like? What might people notice about you?
Remy McDormand, he's very much an odd-looking fellow. Red hair, but very short. He's wearing a fedora. And mind you, he looks very uncomfortable with the garb that he's wearing. He's typically a nice shirt, a tie, and suspenders, and that's about it. Well, obviously in pants. But you see him, he is in a very nice jacket with an overcoat, with the collar furled up, smoking a cigarette. He's looking about the room in almost disbelief that that he's here, and two, that the answers to the story at hand are but a whisper away.
Speaking of the story at hand, let's turn back now to see how our heroes ended up at this illustrious gathering in the sky, why they're here, and what sort of preparations they've made. Mere days ago, in Northport, the greatest city in the Commonwealth, our three rapscallions are gathered together in what sort of a venue?
Speakeasy, I would say.
In a speakeasy.
A
Perfect.
wonderful choice.
The Black Rose in Old Town, a renowned place, neutral ground where everybody from the chief of police, the reeve of the entire city, to notorious mob bosses can sit down and enjoy some music, some nice food, some illicit drinks, and not get in each other's business. Except, of course, in the cases that they do, in which case, they have a permanent insurance policy on the front window. Regardless, they've gathered together after days of preparation for this dangerous mission. Remy has been on the case and learned from a rather smaller private investigatory firm, Carmichael and Carmichael, about the disappearance of one of Northport's most prominent citizens, Aloysius Carrington. It has fallen to these three after roping in Phillip Carrington, Aloysius's grandson, to track down his missing grandfather, one of the richest, most old money folk in all of Northport, believed abducted. And it's believed that it may have something to do with the Omolons, the enlightened movement attempting to subvert the entire world for one generation in order to usher in 10,000 years of prosperity. The last person that Aloysius was in contact with was Professor Oren Strickland of Northport Provincial University. And our heroes have learned that Carmichael and Carmichael's research indicates that Professor Oren Strickland himself may be an agent provocateur, training young students at the academy, at the university, in the arts of subterfuge, reconnaissance, and sabotage, serving the Omolons overseas. There is supposedly hard evidence, but our heroes have not had access to it as it is still under lock and key. With this information inbound, and the knowledge that Oren Strickland is hosting a symposium of antiquities aboard the luxurious Leviathan Zeppelin in merely a few days, our heroes had limited time to prepare themselves. Take a few minutes, discuss amongst yourselves, roll dice if we need to, what sort of preparation and research you might have done in order to prepare for this operation.
Well, gentlemen, as I kind of sit down at the table with a scotch of sorts, seems we finally found the nail. It's time for the hammer to strike. Curious things are happening across this city. It's important that we get to the bottom of it. If we do believe that Strickland is working with those against us, and this is, might I say, frankly, imperative, that we get aboard that Zeppelin and see what the hell is going on up there. Well, Aloysius is a friend of ours, and it's important for our interests that he is well and safe. So, I propose infiltration, a bit of smoozing, a little bit of detective work. Remy, you're the finest gumshoe this side of Northport City. And you, Axel, my God, you're the wooer of women, the protector of artifacts. Together, we will be three of the most devious men ever to be found on that Zeppelin. But it's all a ruse, you see. And I begin puffing out of a pipe. Then I stop puffing and I say, there's a microphone in here. I can record conversations. I'll set it down on a table because I'm lackadaisical, right? I'm somewhat of an odd case. I leave my pipe, it records conversations. We get more intel to find Aloysius. Make sure that he is back in the great nature and mercy of his loved family. Any objections?
As he says microphone in a pipe, can I look around to see if anyone's watching or listening?
Roll a perception check to scan the entire speakeasy to see what may be happening nearby and if anyone has taken an untoward interest in your affairs.
I would love nothing more. I do believe I just did it.
A 19. Okay.
Well,
There is a table of rather lost-looking folk. Their clothes out of place, as if they put them on just in a hurry, slapped together, ignorant of the common fashion, yet not so ignorant as to be avant-garde. Sitting a mere few tables away, falling curiously silent whenever you're talking, and then muttering amongst themselves whenever you're not.
Well, now that we're talking about microphones inside of... And I look again. Pipes. I do believe we are being listened to. But that aside, I do believe you're right. We must. Nay, we have to. Get on the Here's my old mind. Get on the Zeppelin. What? Zeppelin? That's what you said?
Zeppelin, yes.
The flying things?
Look, I know you're scared of heights. And I get in closer and I say, Axel, quickly. I want you to point out who's listening to us, but only use your eyes. I will track them immediately.
Wildly, because you said they were behind me. Wildly, I just start kind of going.
Do I see them? Not seeing if they're listening, but just them.
Mm-hmm. They do
What,
seem a
men?
little bit out of sorts.
What, the ones with no style? They have zero drip, Axel. They look hideous. Their mothers never dressed them, taught them proper attire.
Doesn't that strike you as odd?
You're right. We will continue speaking in code, dear boy. And I step back and say, did I say microphone? I meant leave the ice alone. It's a scotch. Drink it raw. Now, let's talk about this giant bird that we are looking for. The albatross, if you will. And I'll just kind of raise my eyebrows and go, deception.
Remy, any thoughts on the albatross?
What I'm going to do, so as they're talking, I'm just going to go like this. And just like dead stare at them just to see if they're watching.
Okay. You see one of them peering out from behind the other one and dead stare straight back at you for a moment. And then slowly leans so that his compatriot blocks his vision.
Should I go have a word with them?
Well,
This is supposed to be neutral ground, is it not?
supposed to be neutral ground, but it doesn't mean that people aren't willing to engage in a fit of fisticuffs, my boy.
Or a fit of eavesdropping?
Eavesdropping, yes, of course.
The drop of eaves.
Sometimes
One does drop
when you drop
eaves,
the
yeah,
eaves, you
in that.
must understand who's going to pick up the eaves. I am the one who picks up the eaves, not drop them. But I do eavesdrop. I do that. If that was ever a question.
Never a question.
Never a question.
Never.
Remy.
Well, if I see their ears poke up one more time, I might have to make sure that they're not paying attention to us any longer. And whether that means that get them out of here, I'll do whatever it takes. Or we could just leave. Whatever it takes.
I look at him and say, no, this is a speakeasy. It's beautiful. I love this place.
Well, you have to. We're speaking rather loud, so maybe we should speak easy.
Well, we should speak easy. Take note. You are, listen, the best gumshoe this side of Northport City. Perhaps some intimidation is required. Or a bit of schmoozing. Is there a waiter or anyone nearby?
Yep, what'll it be?
I pull out my billfold. How much to cover their tab?
Those ones?
Yes, those ones. The ill-fitted ones.
They've had a pitcher of ice water and a lemonade.
How long have they been
Gentlemen, these might be the most devious men in Northport City. Ice water and a lemonade at a speakeasy?
It's horrifying.
Disgusting.
Absolutely.
Something ain't right. Something ain't right with those blokes, yeah?
I slip him.
How long have they been here?
go ahead.
Well, they came in just about after use.
Well, I will take a stand, kind of straighten my jacket,
I'll follow you.
and then pull one side over the pistol that I have. And I will slowly walk over, very military-like, shoulders back, chest out, puffed, if you must say so. And I will walk over, and I will slam my hands down. Hello, boys. Fancy a pitcher of lemonade?
Pitcher forbidden. The master is forbidden over excessive consumption of the sweet, sweet lemonade. It's forbidden. The master's gone. He can't help us anymore. Yes. Yes.
One pitcher of lemonade here for the table.
I immediately pull the money out of my billfold like this. And there's a tip in it, too.
And the grumbling ceases immediately as the waiter weaves past mobsters and all sorts of scum and villainy to go grab a pitcher of lemonade.
Oh.
Very great. Yes. Gracious. Yes. Thank you for the lemonade. Yes.
Absolutely.
I look towards Remy at this time, and I say, you see what is happening right now? Axel is an artist, and he is about to paint his masterpiece. I must have a front row seat.
Would I know, like, where, like, who these people are by the way that they just spoke? Like obviously they're not normal people.
Mm-hmm. What was your upbringing like? Did you grow up in Northport?
Yeah, I grew up here, right here in Curtistown.
Okay. All right. These folks, they're not speaking normally. They're dressed strange. Give me insight or history, please.
As he rolls that, I have Cultural Chameleon, which allows me to impersonate cultures very well.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have any sort of insight of where they might be from in like a reverse way of Cultural Chameleon?
I'll let you roll history or insight as well. All right, Remy. These folks are from Aelberg, the most neglected, most burned out, desperate part of the city. Doomed by years and years and years of neglect and profiteering, it is a place that only the desperate dare to tread. Now, clearly they wouldn't normally be here, and that might explain their odd dress. And the way that they're all interacting with each other, they're clearly members of a very close-knit community. You would say that they are not a threat. They're not here with that 24 total on your insight check. They don't pose a threat. They are desperate. They need something. And they're very, very uncertain. Now, before we get any further, I do want to note that a few inspirations have been played. Some of them are contingent. One of these, anybody who smashes a glass gets inspiration. In character, please, not in real life. There's also a triple threat card on the table, meaning that the first character to sing gets inspiration, dance gets inspiration, and act, the triple threats of Hollywood. Finally, there's a catchphrase on the table, which is if you use your character's catchphrase, you can cash that in to gain a significant advantage.
Pretty sure Daedalus has already used.
That's why I say you
multiple
can cash it in,
times.
because it's already in play. One more thing.
Behold, an act of God.
One of our acts of God has been activated. Ooh, one clean shot. Your party gets an immediate critical success. You must decide what you're using it on and who's using it. But you get right now, no saving it, right now, you get a critical success.
Okay. I already planned on what I was doing. Now, you boys look lovely, look nice. Please, tell me why you're here. And tell me what you need.
The voice of the master has fallen silent. And our holy sanctuary, all we had left of him, has been plundered. And we were told that... We were told that you were the most devious men in Northport City, and perhaps you could help.
Well, you have come to the right place. Now, who is your master? Please tell.
Ralzemon, master of the unknown. He protected us when nobody else would. But now he's gone, and they've taken away our last relic of his holy voice to the sky.
As he says that, you just hear Daedalus in the background. Albatross.
And I will look back at Daedalus straight up like, this is it.
Also, can Daedalus see if anybody is looking? Because these might not be people that he would ever associate with.
There are some people looking over, like, what is going on over there? And then other people are like, mind your business. It's a black rose, all right?
I'll just to add insult to injury look and go, they are pestering me. I'm dealing with it.
As I'm at the table, like hands on it, looking all tough. Well, Ralzemon. Did I say that right?
Yes. You even put the emphasis, Ralzemon.
Ralzemon. Taking it to the sky, eh? Well, you have run into the most devious men in all of Northport City. That's what he would say. How can we help? Please, speak quickly.
Let's show him. We have to show him. Come with us. And they all stand up, oddly in sync, and looking around, they sort of shuffle their way to the door that leads into a back alley.
It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm taking care of it. Go back to your drinks. Come.
Now, Remy and Daedalus, are you staying inside?
I'll look at Daedalus and just be like, and I'm just gonna sit back down at our table and continue smoking my cigarette and just kind of watching the room.
Daedalus is well connected, you would say. I'm looking for more information. I don't want to blow any sort of cover that I have, so I'm not going to follow them outside. I'm sure that Axel will report to me everything that is spoken. So I'm going to try and find the owner of this speakeasy, the Black Rose, correct? And I'm going to see what he knows about Operation Albatross.
All right. The owner, Tony, is polishing glasses. He's impeccably dressed. Tuxedo, rose on the lapel, the works, but he's in there with a rag, just grinding out glasses, cleaning them out. What can I do you for?
Now, does Tony have a family?
Yes, he does. The family, if you will.
The family.
Mm-hmm.
I will approach and say, Tony, how's the family, old sport?
Oh, you know, a little bit of bickering here. The aunts and the uncles not getting along with each other. Usual stuff.
Well, rest assured, old friend, you don't choose your family, but you know what you can choose? Your enemies. Speaking of this, what have you heard about this symposium of ideas upon the Zeppelin?
Give me a persuasion check.
You got it.
Meanwhile, in the alleyway, the cultists of Ralzemon lead you whispering to each other to, that's a 22 on the persuasion, to a dumpster.
It's an 11. It lagged, and so it rolled it twice. So that's an 11. That's the first one.
All right. Yep. No, we'll take it. An 11.
You can critical success.
I critically success if it's all right with the party.
All right. Let's use that up. Also, chat has just played a Streamloots card to grant inspiration on any and all shenanigans.
Perfect.
All right. Inside,
Devious.
as the cultists of Ralzemon whisper to each other, they move over to a nearby dumpster. And Axel, you see a pair of boots attached to a pair of feet sticking out of the dumpster.
A pair of feet sticking out of the dumpster.
Yes. They appear to be connected to a set of legs that are disappearing within the dumpster. They also appear to be not moving at all.
Well, I will walk over jauntily, and I will grab the ankle, and I'll pull.
Okay. A knife falls out of the boot.
I will take my hand off real quick,
It is
just
a
like that.
jagged combat knife, dulled deliberately like matte black over to prevent any sort of reflection. Military issue. You're a military man, special forces, right?
That is correct.
This is typically seen on Omelon covert operatives.
Before I pick it up, I will look, I will examine, and then I will pick it up by the handle slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, George. This is of Omelon make.
They all blink at you in sync.
What do you make of this? All of you. Someone tell me, what do you make of this? As I wave it around in front of their faces.
These are the men. These are the ones. They entered our holy sanctuary and they claimed the last shrine of Ralzemon. We got this one, but the rest escaped.
Handiwork. Now, you say they took it?
Yes.
Omelons. Here. In the city?
I don't know what that means.
Well. Where's this temple, or where's this holy place you speak of?
In the canals of Aelberg. Bit of a walk.
The canals, you say? As I'm like thinking. The canals. Well, if Omelons are here, in the city, we must do something, shall we?
They're gone, and so is the sacred shrine of Ralzemon. They've taken it away to the sky. You must bring it back.
Is there anything else you can tell me besides in the sky? Because if you can see, the sky is pretty big.
Well, that's why we need your help. We're not as big as the sky. This one, with what little gifts of Ralzemon we had left, we pulled it from his brain. It was to be brought to the sky, to be shown to all the great and powerful ones.
Well, you can rest assured that we will... Before I say that, and I do that, before I say that, are you offering anything for the most devious men in Northport City?
While they debate that, inside the Black Rose, as Remy sits and surveys the room, and Daedalus Daytona walks up to Tony, and Tony says, a little birdie may have accidentally dropped a copy of the guest list here in my very own establishment. And given our long history of friendship and many trials and tribulations we've undergone together. Side note, there are no trials and tribulations that you've undergone together. He just doesn't want to be on your bad side. I suppose
Correct.
I could get you a copy of that.
Thank you very much, Tony. I must say, there's a wonderful romantic tension building here. However, I'm not interested in this. I'm strictly interested in business. I just want to get that across the board.
That's good. My husband would have words for you otherwise.
And I slide a few bills across, or coins, whatever currency.
Mhm.
I slide
paper
it across
money.
and out of my billfold, I slide it and say, "Your discretion."
About what?
About what we just discussed. Oh,
Yeah.
right. You're doing a... Got it. Understood.
Yeah,
Albatross. And I will walk back to the table and wait for him to bring me some sort of copy. And I will sit next to Remy and go, I have the guest list. We're getting
Might I
ourselves...
take a look at it?
He must bring it to me at some point. So enjoy your beverage and giggle like I've said something hilarious. Thank you. There was no reason for that. I just wanted you to laugh because appearances are everything. There's more for me
I
than
wasn't
anyone
really
else.
laughing. Got Roger that. Looking around the room,
Mm-hmm.
would I happen to, other than Tony, of course, would I know of anybody of high stature, in the not so illustrious of people, kind of the
Oh, Jimmy and George
Fam-
are in the back room as they always are.
George and whom?
Jimmy and George.
Jimmy and George.
No last names, please. Bad for business.
It is always bad for business.
Mm-hmm. But
Well, if they're
you'd be familiar with them. You've run the circuit. You've been covering a lot of the internecine gang, organized crime, violence going on as the Column and the Triple Union Society change ownership and tear each other apart and fight for territory. You've got a couple of sources, including both Jimmy and George. They like to frequent
might
the cigar
go-
room in the back.
I might light up a stogie and
Mm-hmm.
walk into the back.
Preposterous. Preposterous, I say. Now, don't you give me that, Jimmy. You and I have had this conversation 1,000 times before. Remy. Remy.
Stopping a conversation for dear old Remy. How kind of you.
I'm not saying you have that effect on people, but yes, he is.
Right. What do you know about things happening in the sky?
Give me a persuasion, intimidation, whatever approach you want to use, but roll for it.
Rough.
Now, if you smash a glass, you can immediately gain inspiration. There's also a Streamloose inspiration card that's been played that you could spend to re-roll that.
You know what? I'm going to
smashing of glasses just...
no. So what I'll do is I'll say that, and I'll see that they kind of just look at me kind of blankly, and I'll walk up to the table where they're at, and I'm guessing at least one of them is taking a drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna grab it and be like, and throw it up against the wall and be like, "Listen, you bastards! You have information, and you're gonna tell me, and you're gonna tell me now."
Is that an intimidation check I hear? Bro, very well, very well. There's no need for reckless destruction of property. Oh. All right.
George, you're the smarter brother. Tell me. Talk to me straight.
Very well, very well. Well, You know, there's a judge on the guest list. Judge Irving Gaines, perhaps you're familiar. I'll give you an investigation or history to determine exactly how much you know. Natural 20. Okay. What do you know? You know everything. Judge Irving Gaines, fastidiously waxed mustache, flowery formal speech, well educated. In the world of crime and punishment, Judge Gaines he approaches everybody like a car salesman. He has political aspirations. He measures every single relationship in terms of what can he get out of it. How can he keep himself in a position of comfort and power? But he's notoriously spineless. So he may initially talk a big game, but the moment that somebody actually confronts him, he tends to back off. And apparently he's been invited to this shindig. Now, here's another thing that you know about Judge Gaines. He has absolutely no interest or knowledge in the area of ancient and antiquities. None whatsoever. He's rich and influential, but doesn't give a crap about that stuff.
And I trust that this conversation stays in the cigar room.
Well, I mean, obviously, poor old Tony can't afford too much more of this glassware, can he? Not with all of this.
Jimmy, you should try lozenge. And I take my leave.
All right. Meanwhile, out in the alley, what can we offer him? We can give you the last knowledge of Ralzemon. Precious beyond compare.
I'm having... Okay. Hold it together, Axel. Hold it together. This is quite generous of the followers of Ralzemon, as I know you hold your knowledge of the god himself very tightly. We shall speak of it after we find this altar, you say?
Yes, the shrine, the lost shrine.
The lost shrine, the lost shrine. Okay, sorry.
And that's inspiration for you for singing. Singing is now off the table.
Well, excuse me. Sometimes I must break into song. It's something that got me through the wars. Anyways, we will investigate this for you. We shall. The most devious man in Northport City shall be on the case.
Do you need him? And they point at the now just a sock, like a foot with a sock but no boot, just sticking out of the dumpster.
We'll keep him down there for now, as we will use that for later. And I will keep a mental note. Hungry? I will keep a mental note, and the first thing, basically, as I'm sure that the feeling is that this is over. So I will start walking inside as I give a tip of a. I'm not even wearing a hat, but I will tip something.
A phantom lady.
Exactly, and walk back inside, straight to Daedalus.
Mm-hmm.
And I will, walk up slyly and into his ear. The Omelons, they're here in the city.
And your proof?
There's a dead one in the trash.
Well, the rest should join him. And I just kind of look around and say, I happen to procure for us a list. What did you find out from the strange dressed men?
They are followers of Ralzemon. Say it with me. Ralzemon.
Raspberry.
One more time. Ralzemon.
Raspberry lemonade.
Close enough.
Perfect. That will be his code word from here on out. Raspberry lemonade. It links the lemonade to the strange men, and it leads their leader back to them. It's all a circle. Now, what did they say was missing? Are they looking for something? I believe I overheard that. And I'm doing this very, very close in proximity. It almost looks like we're having a moment.
A very beautiful moment, I might add. And I will place a hand on your shoulder. And I will say, the last shrine of Ralzemon.
The last shrine.
This is very important.
Well, we are sworn to our duties, Axel. We must all play a part. So I do ask you that you forgive me for what's about to happen. Unhand me, you fiend! I do not wish to discuss with you any further! And I slap him across the face just once or twice, using that acting, and we'll try and dissuade that we have any connection to one another, and we'll be like, putting your hands on me like that? I just had this suit tailored! All right. And I will walk away to some...
Well, the suit sucks!
I turn around and go, too far. That was far too far. Way too far.
I'm sorry.
You will apologize later. And I will walk away.
All right, roll a performance check, but the acting inspiration of the triple threat is now yours.
So I get inspiration.
Add it to your character sheet, keep track of that, bank it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Let me give you a performance check. I'm very good at this.
Oh, and do this with disadvantage, because chat dunked on you earlier.
Right, that makes sense. That checks out. I will do it at disadvantage now. All right, that's one less.
Tragic.
Perfect.
All right.
And I will try and smooth my way over. Do I happen to see anybody else in my line of work that might have notice of this party or an invitation of sorts? Because to my knowledge, I have not been invited yet, correct?
Correct. Now,
which makes me furious.
All right. There are a few ways that we can proceed here to return us to the party in the sky. You know that they stole the last shrine of Ralzemon. You have the complete guest list, and Remy discovered one of the particular people who's on that list, Judge Gaines, and knows a little bit about him. So, in the interest of arriving on the Zeppelin in our limited time, there are a few different ways that you can go about this. You can use those elements and describe to me how you'd go about using them. I believe as a socialite, you have the ability to call in a favor, which would absolutely assist with procuring the guest list, or getting you invitations. But any other preparations or dirty little secrets or tricks up your sleeve that you'd want to prepare, let's go ahead and montage them now.
Well, as a mover and shaker, I would try and find a way to get us 3 tickets onto this airship due to the fact that I'm bringing an artifact myself.
What do you
And I want to display it. I would bring some sort of trident weapon. Whether it's real or not is up for debate, but I'm happy to debate it.
All right. Let's go ahead and use that special ability that socialites have. That should be in your character sheet, and you should be able to paste it into chat by clicking on it, and then I think it's just a matter of a few rolls.
All right. Well, it is if I click on it into chat, it is the mover and shaker. I have connections in the white-collar business world.
Perfect.
Whenever you need to find information in the area of that world or funding for a project, you can usually find someone you can call upon for help or a favor. And this would be me doing this, and any roles you would like me to make, I'm ready to do this.
Let's start out with a straight-up persuasion roll, because I believe that's your normal modus operandi.
Correct. I'm trying to be as persuasive as possible. Persuasion is wonderful.
A dirty 20. Okay.
Dirty 20.
All right. You are able to get on loan this trident weapon, as well as invitations. Are you getting these invitations under your own real identities or under forged identities? Because Do anybody in the party have the ability to do forgery? Is that up anybody's alley?
That'd be the gumshoe.
I'm looking.
Mine would
I think
definitely be in my name,
Okay, so you're under your own name.
but I would probably pick aliases for these two. And I'll come up with those right now. Unless any of you have any input.
I'm sure Axel would try to think his hardest for a sweet name, but the whole time he's just like shoemaker, shoemaker.
Cornelius F. Wallace. The F stands for flake. Cornflake Wallace. You're a devious man. And for you, Remy Sprite.
You're gonna call me Sprite.
I'm going to call you Sprite. And if anybody asks you about it, get upset. I don't know.
All right. Just get me on here.
Perfect.
All right. You have 3 invitations to the symposium in the sky. Using your other resources, special class features, is there anything else you're going to try to swing before you make your way up to the Leviathan?
Now I know that there is going to be security on there.
Yes, indeed.
I do. I mean, I did say that I had my whip on my hip, but
Whip on the hip.
whip in the hip, and I think I'm gonna keep it as part of the decor of my military outfit, and I'm gonna overact, or Axel's gonna overact about that. Like, this is my whip. This is mine.
There are many
It's
like
part
it, but
of
this
my
one is
outfit.
mine.
Exactly.
Oh, you served in the 49th BDSEM Division 2, aye? Thank you for your service.
I also served in the BDSM division.
Well, you didn't, but you're about to.
Oh my god.
All right.
I don't want to whip anymore. Scratch it. Just kill Axel.
Just kill it. Delete it from the character sheet. No longer part of my character.
I'm actually re-rolling another character as we speak right now.
Axel dies?
I fall off the Zeppelin, okay? I'm scared of heights.
All right. Any other cards you want to play? Based on, again, just quick montages, ideas, based on the clues you have, the class features you have, any other preparations you want to put into position before we make our way back to the Leviathan?
I will use Cultural Chameleon, to very much show that I am like a very high-ranking officer, and that's why I was talking about all the chest idols, the chest medals, making sure people know that I am of high rank.
Okay.
And I will use Face in the Crowd. And I will dress up in a nicer suit than what I've been wearing, because it's like a regular business suit. Like it's my only business suit. So on the way to, get everything, I stop by the tailor and I'm like, I might as well drop some nice, and like, it's a nice golden tie, some cufflinks, and a nice, just dapper gray.
All right, so just a little bit more hoi polloi than previously. Do give me a performance check to pull off that disguise. Actually, you know what? Save it. We'll do it when we'll just assume it's like stealth. You don't roll until somebody's trying to fight you or spot you or whatever.
Perfect.
My final contribution to this will just be kind of doing an over monologue during this whole montage sequence of, Remy getting his suit tailored in a way. You must look dapper, and I cock a pistol. And then it goes to others being the chameleon, and they'll say, we must learn to blend in. Another rack of the pistol. And then they'll say, I got us tickets. Another rack of the pistol. It's obscene racking of pistols that I may never use. And I'm putting all these pistols in before Axel probably tells me, like, we don't need that much firepower. And then I will go to one pistol in a scimitar, and I will say, now, my boy, now we look incredibly delicious.
And so, our delicious devils phase back in to the Leviathan, back to this display of ostentatious wealth from a variety of different cultures, this gathering of high society individuals. Now, I have unlocked the guest list for you, my friends. If you go to your journal on the right-hand side, and you look under characters, there's an entire folder of party guests. Perhaps you don't know too much about them yet, but now you have names. You can put names to faces. And if you have questions about individuals based on what you may or may not know about them, feel free to fire away. These are the folks with whom you are now mingling on board the Leviathan. You have traveled for a day or two, dining in utmost extravagance. The dining hall is actually no, it's only been one day. We'll say it's only been a few hours actually, because they're going to get this thing going right away. Otherwise, you would have been able to do productive things, and I don't want to take that away from you. So I'm going to take it away from you. So mere hours after launch, hors d'oeuvres are being served. There's a bartender in the corner. Everybody's gone from their launch positions, and now they're mingling once again. Everybody on the guest list is here. You do not see Oren Strickland, who is supposed to be the presiding professor, the doctor extraordinaire, the most learned of the learned, to open the symposium, open the floor for speaking, and give lectures on all of these artifacts, these antiquities, and the preservation thereof. Him you do not see, but you do know that he is scheduled to begin giving that speech shortly. Your mission is to discover information that will lead you to the whereabouts of Aloysius Carrington. Perhaps you could do this by picking through Oren Strickland's things to find what any secrets he may be hiding. Perhaps you may do this by eavesdropping on secret conversations, by interrogating the man. How you go about it is up to you. But if you want to succeed, you must discover information leading to the discovery of Aloysius Carrington. Back now to the party. Guest list in hand. You've got Judge Irving Gaines right over here. I can actually turn on their names for you. That'll make life a little easier. Whoop. We know that Remy is disguised as a slightly higher class individual. Daedalus is blatantly in his own identity. And Axel is standing on top of this balcony with all of his medals proudly displayed, surveying the room. The room is now yours. We already established that some of you are drinking the giggle water. What are the rest of you doing?
Quick question for the GM.
Fire away.
On the case of the Northport Tribune and Jasmine Ruiz Carrington, who's the judge proceeding the case?
It was, in fact, Judge Gaines.
Interesting. I'll walk over to the and that's the bartender, I'm guessing, right there.
Down in the corner, yep.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna just start there and just, hello, my friend. Are there any specials on the menu? Much of a whiskey drinker.
We do have a rare cask that we brought aboard just for the occasion, sir. Oak aged, a 1883, very good year. Preserved from the fires of the last Great War, in fact.
Very well.
So
I'll take that neat.
A man of taste. Pours it out for you, 2 fingers in a fine crystal glass, and sets it before you.
Beautiful.
What's your constitution modifier?
Constitution modifier is the +1.
Okay. Well, that is the one drink you can have before you have to start making rolls against sloshed.
Sick. I'm going to nurse it.
Alrighty. This is now free exploration. Pass back and forth amongst yourselves as you wish.
Do it, Daedalus. I believe in you.
What am I doing? Sorry?
We're mingling.
Yes, we are. I will ask, did Remy tell Daedalus about the judge at all, or was that information kept to himself?
You would have had time to discuss should you so desire.
I would have mentioned it. I don't know if I would have been. So I would say that I would know about that case and what that case that he proceeded over, and I would have told you all of that.
Right. And now I don't happen to see the Reeve here at all, do I?
No, but you do see a law enforcement officer, Clyde McLean. He's one of the superintendents over at this table.
Wonderful. I'm going to make my way to that table, and I'm going to snag another drink if I can see what he is drinking. Want me to hit you with a perception check?
Sure.
Perfect. And that is not great. Is it wet?
Yes.
Perfect. I grab the first glass and I come through and I set it next to Clyde and say, I just wanted to thank you for your service to the city. I'm a big fan of justice.
Good to see a like-minded individual here as he picks up this flute of bubbling pink champagne. Glances at it. Sniffs
Ignore the color.
suspiciously.
It's a burn in the throat you're looking for.
And what's
And
wrong with the color, good sir? He starts drinking it.
Well, I just didn't want you to feel like I was bringing you some sort of beverage that was insulting to your character. I have high esteem for you, but these waiters are peddling horribly colored drinks when really men like you and I enjoy good scotch, wouldn't you say?
I like to think of myself as well-rounded, but yes, a scotch would do. And he rolls his shoulders. The man is ripped under his uniform.
Uniform's a bit too tight, huh?
I think it's the exact right cut. Nothing better than to show force in the face of disorder.
It's funny that you mention that. I've recently become aware of more mass vigilante types that have been hunted down by the Northport City protectors, if you will. They mask around as if they have all this power. But you and I know where true power lies. Justice. The
Quite.
systems we've put in place.
They are the difference that separates us from the animals.
I agree. So I wanted to pick your brain about something. What do you find is the best way to stop corruption?
Well, obviously, it's a matter of putting the right people in the right positions in the first place. You start out with those of good backbone and stock, and you shouldn't have to worry about such things. And when you find it, you beat it with a truncheon until it's gone.
As he says this, is it possible for me to do a history check to see how the judge, Irving Gaines, is received?
Absolutely. Give me history.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to give you a history check. I'm really good at this. That's a 5.
There is an inspiration on the table. It hasn't been claimed yet. And you probably have one of your own, if you want to cash it in now.
I do have mine. I'm going to cash it in.
Roll again. Take the better of the two.
That's going to be 10 more, good sport.
Magnificent. Judge Gaines, he's a wheeler, he's a dealer, he's a politician. Above all else, his commitment is not to justice or to the law, it's to Judge Gaines. And so the reception is going to depend person by person. If you're a politician who thinks you can get something out of him, you'd probably have, he's useful enough. If you are single-mindedly dedicated to law and order, perhaps less so. The man has a reputation for backing down from fights.
You spoke of having those put in certain places of power.
Mhm.
I wanted to pick your mind and see how you felt about Judge Gaines. Speaking of putting men in power that could actually do some real difference around here and bring justice to Northport.
Him. He folds like wet paper. No spine on that one.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
A glorified clerk, not a judge.
He is easily swayed, isn't he? A simple-minded man. And I will sit and you can pan to somebody else for now.
All right.
You've been on me for a bit.
Who wants up?
I will go while
right.
unmuted this time.
+1 XP for me. Axel, what would you like to do?
Well, as I regally stand on the banister, or the balcony, I should say, I'll have my hands down on it, looking, watching my comrades doing their due. And I will start looking for... I want to look at each and every face
Mm-hmm.
here in this room currently. I do want to... I know that we've noticed that... oh, no. What is his name? Oren Strickland isn't present
Correct.
currently in the ballroom. I do want to make sure... I do want to kind of like scan the room and see if there are any sort of like kind of... You know what? I'm going to do this while walking down the stairs. I will start walking down the stairs.
The two completely inconspicuous gentlemen on either side nod to you.
Yes. I will nod back at them. And I will slowly walk through. And I want to start walking through the ballroom and looking for entrances. And then I do want to go up to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be that old crotchety like military guy that has like zero decorum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna walk right up to the stage, my hands behind my back, you know, just kind of like, yes, gentlemen, to the person who's playing the trumpet beautifully. Your trumpet playing is beautiful. Very nice. I appreciate it.
Does not stop, continues playing the trumpet.
Oh! And I will use that moment to look on the stage for any sort of secret-ish entrances or any sort of like weird off-put things.
Give me a perception check, please.
That totally makes sense. Off-put things.
But
Perception.
communication occurred. I knew what you meant, and that's what matters in the end, right? 12. Well, there's perhaps a little bit more movement behind the curtains than a mere continuation of the windows would indicate. Maybe entrances behind either of them.
Perfect. Well, I guess I will pass by. Actually, I will avoid Clyde McLean, and I will pass by Rudolph Carlson.
All right. Rudolph, Ernest, and Benny York are all in the middle of a conversation. Go ahead and roll an insight check to just quickly read the room, or read the table, rather.
I will quickly do this.
An 8. You have any spice for that, or are we going to let that ride?
I'm gonna let it ride.
Okay.
Can I give him my inspiration?
Yes, you can do that.
Am I re-rolling this?
Cash that out and re-roll, please.
Yoink.
You'll love to see it. All right. So basically, Benny here with the striped shirt and the hat is just sitting there while Ernest and Rudolph are talking amongst themselves and occasionally gesturing towards Benny as if to include him, which he stubbornly refuses to be included.
Yes.
far too much ugliness in the world. It's up to those of us with additional resources to use them to bring a bit of beauty and joy to those who don't have it. And without those resources, our capacity to do so is extremely limited. Right, Benny? Yeah. He agrees with me.
I tend to agree as well. Excuse me, gentlemen. Hello.
I don't think we've been introduced yet. Ernest Sloan offers you his hand, reaching past Rudolph.
Take it very firmly.
Mm-hmm.
Cornwallis.
Yes, Cornwall. Is that your first, middle, and last name, or just for emphasis?
Definitely for emphasis, sir.
Very good. Glad to see a military man here enjoying the more intellectually stimulating things of life. What brings you here?
Well, that exactly. Intellectual, just gravitas. I love what is happening in this room. Very much so.
Now, you're a military man. What would you say is the purpose of state-wielded power? I've been having a debate with this, with Benny over here. Benny looks over at you. There has been no debate. You can see it on his face. There's just been a lot of monologuing.
Oh, well. I apologize.
The giggle water. Yes.
It is the giggle water. It's been a while since I've been able to drink this much, especially on a social outing. Well, speaking of, I think it is a perfect position of power to have in the state, as well as a reason to keep the citizens safe. Don't you agree? I don't see.
Absolutely.
I apologize.
Absolutely. Those who have power are obligated to wield it on behalf of those who lack the resources and insight to do so themselves.
Absolutely. The Commonwealth, are they going to pick up a firearm and, dispose of a random person? More than likely not, but I also do believe that, well, we are here to help them in that space. This gigawatt, what? My George, what have they put in this?
Mine seems to have run dry.
Well, can I get you another?
Please, by all means.
I am sweating, absolutely sweating, because I did like all the commando underneath the table stuff, and I know the back end of all of this, of what they use the military for. So I'm like, yeah, the people, sure. So I leave quickly to go get another drink.
All right. Do you want to bring the drink or do you want to pass?
Like bring the drink to him?
Yeah. Do you want to do that now or do you want to pass the camera?
Let's pass the camera as I walk to the bar.
All right. Remy, what are you up to?
Remy is walking. He's tipped the bartender and walked away. He's kind of making his rounds over here, and I nod to this fellow. I'm just gonna go ahead and go right here and pop a squat and just. I've barely tasted the whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fine vintage, and I don't want to waste it. And I sit down I go to sit down and may I?
Judge Gaines will go ahead and gesture you up. Orson Sinclair, an actor. You know about him. Does all of his own stunts. Shows in a lot of the like swashbuckling adventure movies. Low A tier, high B tier, B grade actor. He sort of just glances at you, but Judge Irving gestures for you. Of course, right this way.
My name is Sprite Pennysmith, and it's a pleasure to make all your acquaintance.
The judge will give you his hand for a firm shake. Lula across the table will give you her hand for a kiss. And Orson will just give you a curt nod.
Personable type. I like it. So, how are we doing this evening? Seem to be enjoying yourselves?
Quite. What sort of business are you in? This is the judge. What sort of business are you in, Mr. Pennysmith?
Business? I'm in the business of money, good sir. And that money never seems to run dry, and it's the way I like it.
Roll a deception check, unless for some reason you do not, in fact, ever run out of money.
I don't really buy much, so I don't buy much. So technically, I'm just stretching the truth.
All right, then roll with advantage.
Okay.
Do I hear this since he's directly behind me?
Absolutely, and also because it's more fun for everyone to be in each other's scenes.
If he asks me for money, I swear to God.
A 19. Okay, Lula is moderately paying attention. Orson Sinclair does not seem impressed, but Irving is definitely paying more attention to you. Give me an insight check to read the table. 16. All right. These three are not particularly acquainted with each other. This may be the first time that they've met. Lula is one of those people who has a one-up story for everything that you talk about. Didn't do it on the money, but is clearly sort of attempting to maintain this air of mystery around herself, the way that she sits back, the way that she moves with a lot of thought, the way that she's apportioned herself everything. Orson believes he's the most impressive person at this table and is not particularly interested in anything else for the most part. Although he does seem to be looking across the table at the young lady in the green dress. As for Judge Gaines, he is very eager to talk to this stranger who just showed up with a bunch of money, supposedly. And he was probably seeing what he could get out of the other two, just in terms of if they knew anybody clout farming, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to look at Orson and say, are you a fan of magic?
If you mean all that spiritualism stuff, I dabble for sure as a form of entertainment. What particularly did you have in mind?
Well, you seem as if you're not impressed, and I was hoping to possibly impress you.
I'd like to see you try.
Growing up in dark parts of Northport, believe me, you had to find a way to make money. And now, seated where I'm at now, I can show you how. And I proceed to pull out like a deck of cards, and I start shuffling. And might I come a little closer so I can show you that this deck is nothing but the real deal?
Roll a persuasion check. The moment you mentioned growing up without money, he looked down his nose a little bit more at you.
That's fair. Can 17. I also, while I'm talking to him, is Mr. Sinclair wearing a watch?
He is.
Or in his coat pocket, is there a little bit of weight where I would see a...
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Very fine handkerchief, very fine watch. Clearly displayed.
Is there also a wallet hiding amongst the breast pocket?
Certainly somewhere on him.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to kind of wrap my arms around him a little bit, and I'm not trying to be a bother, but you see these, and I'm just going to start like flicking the cards. And now I want you to go ahead and just give me a card, any card.
He'll play along. He's clearly humoring you.
And so while I'm doing that, I'm going to kind of shuffle a little bit. I'm going to drop a card, and I'm kind of like shuffle a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and try and go for the watch.
Okay. Roll sleight of hand, please. A 17. All right. The watch is now yours, and they are none the wiser. Add it to your inventory.
Perfect. And I'm I'm gonna be like, as I'm shuffling the cards, I'm gonna be like, "Is this your card?" And it's not gonna be his card.
No.
I seem to be a bit rusty, and I take a sip of my drink and put it down. And Mr. Irving, you saw me with the incorrect card. Is that correct?
Yes, quite completely erroneous.
Perfect. And I'll walk around the table to Lula, and I would like to just, as I'm doing that, I'm going to kind of like shuffle a little bit more and like kind of stumble over myself and kind of drop another card and be, oh, damned be. And I'm going to slip the real card into, like, I'm guessing she's wearing like something that wraps around her. I would just like to slip it into like kind of hiding it in her, like the waistline almost.
Okay.
Not anything gross or weird, but just like, you know, none the wiser. And then and like all like one fluid motion, go over to Irving and be like, "Is this the card?" And I go back to Orson, and it's still the incorrect card.
Roll sleight of hand to deposit the card, to put pocket, if you will. An 11. We got anything for that? There's still a Streamloots inspiration that has not been played, I believe.
I mean, I'll take it.
Okay, it's off the table now. There's also a catchphrase card that hasn't been cashed in. And the last of the triple threat is
Dancing. Believe me,
we are tracking this. All right. With a 19, you are able to deftly place the correct card, the 3 of clubs.
And I say, "Quick, Orson! Before I show you the real card, can you tell me the time?" And I'll do this. Like looking at his watch on my wrist.
Oh, wait.
Now, before you get upset, Miss Lula, will you please just, there's something on your belt.
I imagine there is, but what it is none of your business, good sir.
No. Believe me. Just take a feel.
I'm sure he'd like to. And she goes ahead and reaches down and pulls out the 3 of clubs.
And I hand him back his watch.
All right.
And I'll take my seat back. And just
schmoozing up. All right. He is suspicious. She is somewhat more appreciative, a little bit more open. And Judge Gaines is entertained, but not particularly engaged. So you're making nice. You're making nice. Anything else on that you want to pass along to Daedalus?
I'll kind of like lean back in my chair a little bit and just be like, "The Falcon is nearly landed," and kind of go back.
I will lean back and say, "It has caught the lizard and is heading for the nest." And I will lean forward. I have no idea what he's talking about. At all. And I will lean forward. Do I know either of the other two at this table, Jeremiah Buckner or Vivian Weeks?
Let's see what circles they run in, shall we? Jeremiah Buckner. Give me a history check, please. And then give me an insight or insight or perception. So history first, then insight or perception.
All right. My history is wonderful. It's a 5.
Never heard of this guy.
Fantastic. I'm going to do my insight now. That's an 18.
Vivian Weeks does seem oddly familiar. Very, very old. Has a passing resemblance to the Emersmith family. This is a little known fact that you would be privy to. The wealthiest man in all of Northport is an old reclusive billionaire, Zachary Emersmith, who lives by the sea in a dilapidated old mansion. His 2 daughters, who are in their 70s, the man's a centurion, he's over 100 years old. His 2 daughters were burning through his fortune as fast as they could in the speakeasies and the hidden gambling halls and such. But one of his daughters, Dorothy, passed away tragically recently. The other one has been largely out of the news, and this person going by the name of Vivian Weeks rather resembles her, but is giving no indication as to that truth.
Interesting. I will just take my drink and I will look closer and say, ma'am, nod my head, and I'm going to see. I didn't happen to, and I'm happy to do an insight check. Did I hear any of the conversation that was happening to the table to my left with Rudolph Carlson?
I'm going to say yes. You were privy to the conversation. Ernest was earnestly discussing the role of philanthropy in the world. Benny was ignoring him. Axel went up and talked to them a little bit about the role of the military, and Rudolph was gently participating.
Wonderful. Now, to my understanding, as an Ausonian in the facade that I'm trying to produce to the world, I would be against the state's rights.
Let's see, if you were an old world Ausonian, you would believe firmly in the role of centralized power.
Correct. A national government, if you will.
Yes. Now, when Ernest was talking about the state, he didn't mean states' rights. He meant the government as an entity.
Correct.
So he was advocating for a strong central government.
This perks my interest because I too believe the same thing. So I will see if I can gallivant across.
Gallivanting is a free action.
Perfect. That's fantastic for me. And I will come by and I will not acknowledge Cornelius F. Wallace, but I will sit down and say, I'm sorry, I couldn't but help but overhear certain discussions of political interest, which suit my fancy a bit as an extracurricular. Do you mind if I take a seat?
Please, yes. A man concerned with the well-being of the world and the welfare of the populace is always welcome. Have a seat.
How rude of me. Daedalus Elisi, at your service, owner of Devious Devices in Northport.
I believe I'm familiar with that. Ernest Sloan, I'm in the steel business. Perhaps you've heard of Sloan Enterprises?
Sloan Enterprises, how could I not have heard of it?
Oh, magnificent, magnificent. Perhaps a bit more utilitarian than your line of work, but a man of business is always welcome here.
Paper stacks for all, friend. And I will sit down and say, if the people, have no direction of a powerful source of government, then they would just wander aimlessly and civilization wouldn't rise to the heights that it is.
Precisely. It is for mutual, universal benefit that there be a strong hand on the reins.
Agreed. You do not wield a household of strength based on weakness or backing down. You must rule it with an iron fist and make sure that those who disagree fall in line. Rebellions and the like, they are started by those who do not have the proper vision. Do you understand?
Well, yes, but I find that the iron fist inside the velvet glove is the best approach. One must have a certain benevolence and wisdom to wield the reins of power.
Of course. You only rule with a steel fist when something needs crushed. Friend.
He gratefully grabs the drink that Axel has brought him while still just like sweating under the collar over the subtext of the conversation, and livens up a bit, very, very, very gladly.
And I will step away.
So did Oren invite you here for this little educational event?
As a matter of fact, he did. I am bringing one of my own procured artifacts to show, but I am awaiting the proper time.
Of course. Well, I mean, you may be waiting for just a little bit. He's staying in a cabin directly overhead the pilot's. What do they call the bridge? Yes, he's in a cabin directly over the bridge, obviously going through his notes, preparing his speech. He is renowned for those little quips that he puts at the beginning. I imagine they don't take him too much effort, but he has to have all of his notes in order, of course. Guests are not allowed into the cabin, though. Otherwise, I would have already gone up there to wish him hello. Not to distract the pilot, you understand.
Of course, it's important to give privacy where privacy is due. He's one of the most important men in Northport.
Quite. Of course, he may be the coordinator of this event, but my good friend Rudolph here does not share my zeal for this, merely here to show his support. Rudolph nods politely.
I just seem to take a perusing around the room, and I noticed that all of us are of great importance to the future of Northport. Wouldn't you all agree?
Absolutely. Who else
think
would
the
order fit for
professor-
this?
Of course, and I think the professor was well suited to put together this illustrious group of different ideals and come up with some sort of a solution to the world's problems.
Well, if anybody's equipped, I would think that those gathered here are the best for it.
I would agree, old sport. You and I are getting along nicely. We must
Famously.
exchange information. And I will just kind of sit and schmooze with them. I've now found out about the captain's seat. I will stand up and say, forgive me, I must wet my lips. And I will walk and see if I can go over past the bar, and I will move past and say, Strickland is going to be above the cabin, above the pilot. He's getting his preparations in order. I'm going to slip away to the loo, and I will see if I can find some sort of bathroom in this albatross.
And you did say this to me, correct?
Correct, to Axel.
Okay. Because I had the idea already of sneaking away.
Then you will sneak away, and I will stay put, and I will sit at the table on the far left. I'm just kind of going around schmoozing at this point.
Well, before you walk away, Axel will lean in, say, make a scene. Can you? As I start walking away. Up the stairs.
I will look up, and I will jaunt over towards those playing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pull out $500.
Oh.
And I'm going to pass it to the one playing music, and I will say, do you know any traditional Ausonian pieces?
Hold on. Do I have it?
I believe.
I have it. I'm sure I've got something rattling around in the back of my head. Are you sure?
Does a bear shit in the woods? And I will turn around. Does he begin to play?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for our wonderful and illustrious host, I thought I would give you a taste of culture, if you will. And I will, A Knight's Tale like, begin as the music, if it plays. I will begin sauntering down the way, and I will begin dancing. And if I can spot the woman in the green dress that is there, I would walk and hold my hand out.
All right. She
Would you care?
absolutely, with a giggle, will jump up to join you. And here's what I'd like to do. Do you want to use your enthrall ability here, or just rely on the dance?
Absolutely. I'm using my force of personality.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So,
Drop that in chat.
okay. Drop the
The ability, so that I can see exactly what I have to roll.
perfect.
All right, enthrall.
Okay.
Enthrall is a spell-like ability. If you click Enthrall on your spell sheet, it'll drop that.
Perfect. I go to my spells
Mm-hmm.
and do Enthrall. And there it is right there.
Okay. Any creature. All right, so they have to roll wisdom saving throws. I'm not going to roll a whole room of wisdom saving throws. So I would like Remy to roll a perception check, please. A dirty 20. Okay. As Irma Galloway jumps up to dance with this charming individual, you notice, as a fellow practitioner of the craft, as she like wraps her hand around him, she's going for his pockets. And then as soon as the force of personality kicks in, she stops, completely taken aback by this strapping young lad, and just forgets what she was doing. She was absolutely about to lift off of him. All
And
right.
I
Go
will begin dancing, and I will begin kind of twirling her around, doing some dips,
Mm-hmm.
doing a bit of, and I'm happy to roll for this, and if it goes poorly, my God, this will suck. But I am willing to do some acrobatic sort of
Send it.
movements.
I would take performance or acrobatics on this.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you performance.
All right, send it.
I believe.
That's a
22. You are captivating. As a man of the gentry, you're very well trained in this. You have the entire room's attention. Plenty of time for Axel to sneak out.
Perfect.
And Remy, the whole room is distracted. Is there anything you wanted to do during this time? Take advantage of the moment?
I don't know. I can't think of, honestly, I can't think of anything.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would start looking at Judge Gaines and just start pretty much just trying to get on his good side.
Okay.
And
Tell you what. Give me a persuasion check and we'll see if you can schmooze anything out of him. A 6. I will allow advantage on this because of the enthrall effect going on, putting everybody in a good mood.
Oh.
hey,
A 23.
there we go.
Okay. Here is what you find out. Judge Gaines is on good terms with Professor Strickland. Very good terms. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine sort of arrangement. He doesn't care about antiquities whatsoever unless it can do something for me. His connection with Professor Strickland is more political and mutually beneficial, if that makes sense.
Okay, perfect.
All right. But he seems to know the professor rather well. And so as our heroes dance in the aisles, schmooze the judge, and sneak out to the rest of the infrastructure of the Zeppelin, we shall return to the Carrington Caper after a short break. Don't go anywhere, folks. Coriander Society will return.